12 professional interpreters had already failed. Highly trained. Highly paid. Fluent in multiple languages. Yet none of them could understand what the foreign client was saying. The deal was about to collapse. Millions were at stake. And the boss was losing patience. Then, from the corner of the room, a quiet voice spoke. "Sir, I think I understand him." Everyone turned. Confused. Because the voice didn't come from a manager or an expert. It came from a cleaner. A poor single father who had been mopping the floor just minutes ago. What happened next didn't just save the deal. It shocked everyone in that room. Because the men they ignored spoke 8 languages fluently. But the real question is, why was someone like him cleaning floors instead of sitting at that table? Stay till the end, because his story will change the way you see people forever. The conference room was filled with tension. Executives sat around a long glass table. Laptops open. Files scattered. The air felt heavy. At the head of the table stood Mr. Arvind Mehta, the CEO of a global corporation. A man known for his precision and his impatience. "This is unacceptable," he said sharply. Across from him sat an international client. Frustrated. Speaking rapidly in a language no one seemed to fully grasp. "Where are the interpreters?" Mr. Mehta demanded. "They've tried, sir," an assistant replied nervously. "Tried," he snapped. "We're about to lose $1 billion deal." One by one, interpreters had stepped forward. Each confident. Each failing. Miscommunication grew. Tension increased. Meanwhile, in the corner of the room, a man quietly cleaned the floor. Raghav. Simple clothes. Worn shoes. Head slightly lowered. Invisible. He had entered earlier, unnoticed, doing his usual job. Cleaning up after people who didn't even look at him. But his ears were listening. Carefully. Every word the client spoke. Every mistake the interpreters made. And he understood something no one else did. The problem wasn't the language. It was the dialect. He hesitated. This wasn't his place. He was just a cleaner. But then he heard the client say something. A phrase filled with frustration. A phrase no one reacted to. Because no one understood it. Raghav tightened his grip on the mop. If no one stepped in, the deal would fail. He took a deep breath. And spoke. "Sir. I think I understand him." Silence. Every head turned. Confusion. Disbelief. Mr. Mehta frowned. "Excuse me." Raghav stepped forward slowly. "I can try," he said quietly. A few executives exchanged looks. Some smirked. "This is not a joke," one of them muttered. But the client stopped speaking and looked directly at Raghav. "Let him try," the client said. The room froze. Mr. Mehta hesitated. Then gestured reluctantly. "Go ahead." Raghav nodded. Then, in a completely different tone, he spoke. Fluent. Clear. Precise. The client's eyes widened. For the first time since the meeting began. He smiled. And replied. The room fell into stunned silence. Raghav translated effortlessly. Switching between languages. Explaining nuances. Clarifying misunderstandings. Minutes passed. And just like that, the tension disappeared. The deal was back on track. By the end, the client stood up and extended his hand. To him, he said. Not to the CEO. Not to the executives. To the cleaner. Applause slowly filled the room. But Raghav didn't smile. He simply stepped back, lowered his head, and returned to his mop. As if nothing had happened. But for Mr. Mehta, everything had changed. Because one question now echoed in his mind. Who is this man? Mr. Mehta didn't let it go. Find out everything about him, he ordered. Within hours, the reports came in. And what they revealed was unexpected. Raghav Sharma. Age, 38. Occupation, cleaning staff. But that wasn't the full story. Years ago, he had been a language professor. Fluent in 8 languages. Respected. Brilliant. Until life changed. His wife fell seriously ill. Medical bills piled up. He sold everything. His home. His savings. His future. But it wasn't enough. She passed away. And just like that, Raghav lost more than a person. He lost direction. With a young son to raise, he took whatever job he could find. And never looked back. Not because he forgot who he was, but because he chose survival over pride. The next day, Mr. Mehta called him into his office. Raghav stood quietly. Uncomfortable. You speak 8 languages, Mr. Mehta said. Raghav nodded slightly. Why are you cleaning floors? Raghav didn't answer immediately. Then he said, because my son needed food more than I needed recognition. Silence. That answer hit harder than any speech. Mr. Mehta leaned forward. You saved $1 billion deal yesterday, he said. Do you understand that? Raghav nodded. I just did what I could. No pride. No demand. No expectation. Just honesty. Mr. Mehta stood up. Then let me do what I can, he said. He offered him a position. Not as a cleaner, but as head of international communications. A role worthy of his skills. Raghav hesitated. Fear. Doubt. Time away from his son. I can't work long hours, he said. My son needs me. Mr. Mehta nodded. Then we'll make hours that work for you. That moment wasn't just about a job. It was about respect. Months later, Raghav sat in the same conference room. But this time, at the table. Confident. Respected. Valued. And sometimes, the most extraordinary people live the most ordinary lives. Not because they lack talent, but because life asked them to sacrifice more than others. So next time you see someone unnoticed, remember, you might be looking at someone incredible. Someone who simply chose responsibility over recognition.